BeTerrific, official coverage of CES 2017.
Welcome back. High atop Central Hall here in the Las Vegas Convention Center. I'm Michael Artsis. Thanks so much for joining us. You are the Terrifics. You make BeTerrific special. At BeTerrific TV on all social media. This is your live continuing coverage of CES 2017 from your media partner, BeTerrific. Thank you for keeping it locked here. We just had a little bit of an audio issue, so I apologize to our viewers. That
sound happens.
It's a little uncomfortable to their ears, but sound does happen.
Sound happen?
Yeah, there you go. Jason Aaron, everybody, my co-host. And we have Civil Maps on. We're talking about augmented reality for maps. And you know, as we started to talk before, I was saying what's great about it is you're finding a practical use for augmented reality. You're saying, okay, there's a building here, this building's there, there's a gas station here, and all the way in the distance is where I need to go. But we never thought about the fact that that has to be done for autonomous vehicles as well, and that's where Civil Maps comes in.
Yeah, so we are providing cognition to cars so they can make decisions in a safe way. And we are providing these maps so the cars can make decisions, but also the consumers riding in the cars can understand what the car perceives and what it intends to do.
Now, where does this come into play, or does this come into play in sort of, you know, we've been talking all morning a lot about gamifying things.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans, or are you taking any of this data and making it more fun for users, you know, enhancing the GUIs? I mean, how does that come into play?
Yeah, so if you think about augmented reality, you're projecting information on top of what you're seeing. So this could completely redefine the road infrastructure. Paint markings and signs and signals can all be digitized, and all you can have is a concrete, which is blank. So you can actually reprogram roads, reallocating lanes, and making roads one-way dynamically.
That's an amazing concept. I mean, if you think about it, we live in New York, the tunnels. Yeah. So the Lincoln Tunnel, if you're familiar with it, has 4 tubes, and depending on the time of day, sometimes it goes in and sometimes it goes out.
Right, you could have 3 in and 1 out, or 1 out and 3 in.
Or 2 and 2, so that's sort of the analog experience, whereas what you're talking about is, no, they just press a button in a central station, and now, based on the traffic patterns, it becomes 3 and 1 just based on that.
Are you excited for autonomous vehicles? Because I am more than excited.
You know, I was in a cab yesterday. We talked about this earlier off camera. And I had a very well-read cab driver who was a little old school and was very afraid of it because he thought, oh, Russian hackers are going to, you know, essentially, you know, once the vehicles are connected, they're connected, and they're going to break into these vehicles, and everyone's going to crash into everyone else, and the whole world's going to come to an end because of autonomous vehicles. I don't know. I mean, once you're connected, you're connected. I mean, somebody could hack into my phone right now and program it to overheat and explode in my pocket. It's not something I think about in the morning. I can't. Not me. I wouldn't be here if I could. But
you wouldn't?
I mean, I might be for fun, but I'd be busy blowing up people's phones.
You would?
In their pockets. I don't know.
I don't like where he's going with this. Do you?
I'm just saying. I'm very excited about autonomous vehicles. I don't.
You're saying if you were that talented, you'd be doing something else.
Yes.
There we go. Okay. Is that clear? Yeah, he'd be building Civil Maps or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I think autonomous driving, it is the wave of the future. I have a very good friend who's into civil design, who actually built a project for what New York City would look like if they completely redesigned the infrastructure of the city. They did a cost analysis, and a lot of this sort of Minority Report looking stuff was in there, and autonomous vehicles are the wave of the future.
Which reminds me, I was thinking about this yesterday, how smart was Spielberg, though, like to really sit with future, you know, guys who were predicting the future, futurists, technologists, and I think what they did was got it pretty accurate on a lot of levels. I mean, we're not there yet, but I think we'll be there, and it'll wind up being pretty accurate.
Well, as the same cab driver who I wish I knew his name and I could give him a shout out, said yesterday, you know, like any technology, it's here. You could see it. You know, a Tesla could drive itself without you in it.
Sure.
From your cell phone, tell it to just go
Uber
somewhere.
has self-driving cars even.
Yeah, so it's really just a matter of catching the technology up to mainstream it.
So how'd you create this company? How'd you think of coming up with this idea? And I mean, how did you go from, hey, I probably am smart enough to be able to hack somebody's cell phone, to be able to create Civil Maps, which seems, I mean, that actually blows my mind.
Yeah, so Civil Maps, we originally made 3D maps for the oil and gas industries, rail industries. It's actually the automotive companies that met up with us in one of the accelerators in Berkeley, and they said, hey, like we really need this type of technology in this market, and the demand in that market is so much larger than heavy industry. So we readapted our technology to serve the automotive industry, and lo and behold, we're here doing autonomous cars.
Although it can really work well in the heavy industry, and I think you got two businesses there.
Yeah, that's primary market is AV, and then you can have peripheral industries. That's the beauty of augmented reality, is you can repurpose the information and the context based on who it's relevant to.
And you did this all out of an incubator at a college.
Yeah, so we were incubated by UC Berkeley and Stanford.
Whew. Those aren't just colleges, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, those are like, yeah, that's where the geniuses go.
Yeah, on the West Coast. So, I had a great
Unbelievable.
experience.
That blows my mind.
I had a great experience with the Vive.
Yeah.
Google created like a Google Earth experience with the Vive, and you could essentially go anywhere and fly over a city like Superman. I mean, it's an incredible immersive experience. Where do you see the next 5 years of this, 10 years of this? What's the future?
I think entertainment will be redefined. If you know physically where everything is, you can actually augment media content on top of what you're seeing. So you can have interactive media that's consumed in an entirely different way based on the position and orientation of where you are. You could have things like ubiquitous displays. You could have things like personalized experiences travel with you, and then being projected on buildings or any type of different environments that is interesting to you.
Do you see I don't know how into wearables you are, but you and I are both wearing glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Google Glass didn't exactly take off,
Mm-hmm.
but is that sort of the future, a mix of those two technologies where instead of using my phone, this will be my display,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll be able to see this augmented content that you're creating in front? Because it's cool to see something projected on a building, but if I have to do this all day with my phone, it sort of loses a little bit of practicality.
So I think product experience is really important, and the company that nails the product experience will deliver the best product for the market, right? So the market has a certain pull. Today for autonomous cars, that pull is we need to make sense of the world so you feel safe. And that might be different for different markets, and the beauty of the technology is it can quickly readapt and deliver that value.
You talk about Google Glass. I'm like excited for the next version because I feel like sitting here on set, I could have show notes, I could have messages from the Terrifics in the Slack chat, I could have all sorts of stuff. That's an augmented reality. I really like it. I just think it was implemented wrong. It was hard to read, it was bad, it was clunky, but I like the prospect of it. And then I see, Snapchat coming out with those glasses, the spectacles, and I think, wow, that's pretty cool, and people like them. Now we just need to get the two really together and really move it forward. I love what you're doing. I think it's really important. Our viewers can check more of you out, of course, by searching for Civil Maps, but also on our second screen experience, our live view, Facebook Live video booth. We're going to send you there now. We're going to send them to a quick break, and we're going to bring on Olo Clip. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
A whole lot more of your live continuing coverage of CES 2017 right here from the Las Vegas Convention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada when we come back. Digital Phil, what's up? Keep going, buddy. He's got GIFs going on in that Slack chat and all sorts of stuff. I love what's happening in the Slack chat. And come on, bring the questions. We'll ask them for you, all right? Tell Loria to come up here. We'll interview her too. All right, you guys are the best. We'll be back right after this.
BeTerrific, official coverage of CES 2017.